we are kind of in the beginning of July. Doom and gloom, we're going to zero. Bitcoin has corrected to 54.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over.
It's over already.
Oh my God. The bull market is over? Really? I mean, hey.
I hope we haven't got it that wrong. You know what I keep thinking in my head? You know that saying that Raoul Pal made up about don't F this up? I keep thinking, have we already done that?
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today I'm here with Annie from Trade, Travel and Chill. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Guys, as always, in the comment down below, I'm going to link her channel, which is absolutely amazing. I love your trading show.
Thank
You're
you.
one of my favorite.
Oh.
And before we dive into your experience and how you started, can you give us a 360 and tell us about how you got into crypto?
I stumbled into crypto. What had happened was my grandfather passed away, because he was an investor in the stock market. And I knew absolutely nothing about shares, what you're supposed to do with them, so I had to join Facebook groups to learn, is this a good thing that I now have? Do I hold on to it? Do I sell it? If I sell it, how? I, had absolutely no knowledge, but it was just meant to be. And so I jumped into as many Facebook groups that I could find about investing and just happened to stumble across a comment about Bitcoin, which just intrigued me. I can't remember what the actual comment was, but it just sounded interesting to me that it was a new form of money. And I went down this rabbit hole trying to learn what it was, fell absolutely in love with Andreas Antonopoulos and just, the way that he described Bitcoin and the purpose of it. And I fell in love with the idea of it first and then decided to buy a little bit. And in those days, I was in Australia, you couldn't just go... There wasn't just an exchange that you could just buy it online. I had to go deposit money to a random bank account and hope that I would get some Bitcoin in return. So it was very I don't know who I'm giving this money to.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to get crypto in return. I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, luckily it did come to me. And then, slowly things evolved and you were able to do things online. And I, then started looking at altcoins and whatnot. But I'm essentially a Bitcoin lover. It's my thing, Bitcoin.
I like to have a portion of my portfolio which I use strategically to make more Bitcoin. So one thing is to, I don't know if you would agree here with me, but one thing is to say, okay, I'm a Bitcoiner and I don't touch anything else, which is probably the safest thing you can do because when Bitcoin corrects less, I suppose. Still risky, but less risky than other altcoins. But at the same time, when you decide to trade some Bitcoin for example, Ethereum, which is relatively safe compared to others, and the longer you go down the list, the more the risky becomes.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't even feel like money anymore. It's just like a token and you click and you buy and little you know and you've lost or you exchange most of your stock.
Yeah.
So what I had to do to perfection my kind of technique to multiply my Bitcoin is to physically separate them and say, okay, here's my Bitcoin long term, I'm never going to touch.
Yep.
Then I'm going to take a small percentage of it, 1%, 2%, 0.5, depending on how conservative you want to be. And then with the amount I exchange into a separate wallet, I can go degen.
Yeah, totally. I'm similar, a little bit different. So I instead will decide an amount of capital that I want to put into the market in general, and then I will split that up. So whatever I'm allocating to Bitcoin, I'm always going to make sure that I'm Bitcoin heavy because whatever mistakes I make in altcoins, Bitcoin is going to forgive those mistakes. So very much like you, whatever Bitcoin, I'm always buying Bitcoin. I'm always trying to accumulate more. I do it through leverage trading on coin futures contracts that settle in Bitcoin. So I can make more Bitcoin without actually physically buying it. But anytime I have profits or anything like that, it gets funneled into cold storage and I never sell Bitcoin. Initially, it was because I was in Australia, a very high tax country. So when you think about it, you're never going to buy the absolute bottom. You're never going to sell the absolute top. So there's a loss there, right? And then you have the tax implication as well. When you combine all of those percentages, you're probably never going to buy back in at a better price. So when you're in a country like that, you have to think about the tax as well. So I would never sell Bitcoin. Here now it's different. Could potentially maybe take profit on it, but I still I just have an emotional attachment to it, and I would rather sell altcoins that I don't really believe in any of them past one cycle. So I'd rather take profit on that, use that for other things in my life and just continue to stack Bitcoin. So I'll have my amount that I'm willing to allocate to Bitcoin that stays stacked away, it stays safe. and I have a separate amount that I'm willing to allocate to altcoins. I would never sell Bitcoin to buy an altcoin. That is like, to me, you know, like buying a Ferrari and like exchanging it for a Hyundai. You know what I mean? Like,
makes sense.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Isn't it crazy that, I mean, I don't know if it was the same for you, but definitely for me, like I was attracted to Bitcoin to begin with because I wanted to make money. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to buy this thing and sell it when it reaches so and so and so. And now I've done a proper 360 where I'm like, I'm not selling this.
Yeah, I know, right? Because what else is better? You know, like what else is actually better? I can't find anything.
This is one of the reasons why I have such a beautiful guest like yourself on the show, because I want to try to explain or to tell stories. And then at the end of the day, you guys do whatever you want. Like anyone is supposed to be free to decide where they want to allocate their money, of course. But when you list down all the assets you've got nowadays and how can you fight inflation, which, by the way, CPI, as I call it, CPI, it's not even a thing. Like they mask most of the numbers. And by the way, if you just want to make sure, go to the grocery with $50, 50 euros or whatever the currency, and see how much you can get as opposed to 5 years ago without even going that far. So then how do you fight inflation? How do you protect your sweat equity? Like we go to work and we save into fiat, which probably not a good idea. And then when you list everything down, like you said, well, you have options. You have art, you have gold, you have... I'm a big fan of gold. I like gold. I like the idea of gold, but I don't like the asset itself because unless you keep it in your own house,
correct,
you don't own it. Exactly. Someone else has it. Then, okay, fair enough. The ETF is the same thing, but you can choose to self-custody your Bitcoin, right? So are you also in the same, like, are you fully Bitcoin or do you have a percentage on physical assets? Do you own properties? Like, would you like to potentially explore the option? How's your view here?
Yeah, so I do have property. I'm in the process of, you know, building that portfolio, but it's for a mix of reasons. It, you know, obviously to diversify wealth, but also lifestyle, because I love to travel, hence the business name. And when I travel though, I like to spend a decent amount of time in different places. I'm not like a 1 week holiday type of person. I'm a 1 month minimum type of person. So if I go, I want to live like the locals. I want to understand the culture and learn and, you know, see nature and all those sorts of things. So I like to spend decent amount of times in different countries. And I don't like to stay in one place for too long. As much as I love Dubai, it's amazing. Sometimes I just need to get out. So in order to build the lifestyle I want, I just decided, and I decided this from 2 cycles ago. It's taken 2 cycles to get to this point. But I just decided that my life goal was going to be to build a global property portfolio so that anytime I just wanted to pick up and I want a different scenery in a different country, I have a house there, I can go stay there. And when I'm not there, it's on short-term rental. And there are so many places in the world that are still developing where you can have the most beautiful life and it's very cheap, you know, and you get in early and who knows what will become of that. But at the end of the day, it's an investment. It gives me the lifestyle that I want. I
mean, I did travel extensively myself as well. And there is a massive difference in between going somewhere on holiday and living somewhere, right?
Big time.
There's many places I've seen as a tourist and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then after 3 months, your feet are itching. You want to go somewhere else. It's too small, it's too big, or whatever it might be. Many people are asking me over and over and over, how Dubai, banks are friendly. I'm like, guys, banks are never friendly with crypto, right?
Yeah, they're not friendly. Dubai is crypto friendly. Dubai banks is a bit of a different story. So yeah, that is difficult. You know, if I really don't take much money out of crypto, especially like in this point in the cycle. I'm trying to get it in, not out. When I need to take money out of crypto, I do it through Swiss banks, and then it comes back here. So it's like this way to go this way, and I can't just go direct.
Yeah, OTC also. I use OTC a lot. Yeah. Banks are never friendly, guys, with crypto, by the way, because crypto is an enemy number one of banks, especially Bitcoin. Yeah. But the place itself, I like it. I like it because I can be heavily invested in crypto for the reason you said earlier. If I was, for example, in the UK, every time you buy and or sell a token, that's a taxable event.
Yes, same in Australia. Yeah.
So imagine like you want to go in and out of the market, DCA out of the market, because we don't know when the top is going to be, or buy in now. Every time you trade, let's say you have USDT, you buy something, tax.
And even just tracking that, like having an accountant that has to go through all that paperwork is exponential expense.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's crazy. And the other good thing, actually, even though the Dubai banks aren't great, they will let you buy property with crypto here.
Yeah.
You know, like they're like fine. You know, so yeah, you couldn't get that in Australia. I couldn't go to Australia and say, hey, can I buy this with Bitcoin? They would not be interested. But in Dubai, they're like, welcome. We don't care how you pay for this property, just pay for it.
Yeah, luxury car, luxury items, all sorts of things. And you touched on the cycle. I mean, where do you think we are now with the Bitcoin cycle? Do you buy into the 4-year cycles? And
I do. I try to block out a lot of the noise, you know, the recession talk. And a lot of the time, news is designed to get you to feel a certain way that is often a trap. So I will really just block out all of that. And to me, the cycle is probably the only form of analysis that has not yet been disproven. Do you know what I mean? Like there's the stock to flow model that kind of fell out a little bit, you know, in the bear market, and like all these things that we have relied on, because you know, we're still not really old enough to have a lot of history, but all these things that we have used, EMAs, whatever it is, to do long-term fundamental or technical analysis, sort of failed a little bit in the last bear market. But so far, the cycle hasn't. Like the bear market bottomed in the month it was meant to, you know, and the halving happens when it's meant to. And so I will follow the cycle until the timing is right for it to be over. But I also don't want to push the limits of that. So, you know, if we were to say that we thought the cycle, and I'm making up a date, this is not real, but, you know, if we were to say we think the cycle is going to end in March next year, I'm not waiting till March next year to cash out of my altcoins. You know, I'm doing that from December, Jan, Feb, slowly, scaling in, scaling out. It's the way that you avoid that big sharp drop when it's all over, you know?
yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I had Gary Cardone on my podcast, and he said, how do you chart in the ETF? Like, for example, charts are great, and TA is fantastic because it can give you an idea of where we might go.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, nobody knows where the top is,
Nobody
neither
knows.
the bottom. So the best way to do, no financial advice, but that's what I'm doing, that's what you're doing as well. We're scaling in and scaling out. So if your target is, and by the way, it's something, a massive mistake. I mean, I made so many. I like to call them investments, right? Because nobody is ever an expert from day one. You have to go through some fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
learn, right?
I think everybody's first experience in crypto is usually getting scammed. That's the initiation.
Yeah, it's one of us now. Indeed. But there is one other that I made quite deeply in, was to have a price target. So my mistake was, I'm not going to touch anything until we get to $100,000.
Yes.
This is the previous cycle.
Correct.
Because $100,000 was baked in. Like everyone and their parents were expecting 100K.
Yes.
Big mistake from my end, because I wasn't looking at the time. Like you said, I also believe in the 4-year cycle, because until we are proven wrong, they are working.
Yeah.
So now, this time, I will try to have multiple indicators, aka time and price.
Yes.
And think about, for example, let's say, like you said, let's say we go on top March 2025.
Yeah.
Well, you want to start selling in December, because otherwise, you know, so you have to have a plan and be ready for it. And now I feel like, I don't know if you would agree with me, but now, which we are kind of in the beginning of July, doom and gloom, we're going to zero, Bitcoin has corrected to 54.
Yeah.
Oh, it's over.
It's over already.
Oh my God. Bull market is over? Really? I mean, hey.
I hope we haven't got it that wrong. You know what I keep thinking in my head? You know that saying that Raoul Pal made up about don't F this up? I keep thinking, have we already done that?
I mean, it would be the first time.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, and it's also funny on how it's the same thing over and over and over. I've been here 11 years, and every time the halving happens, people are expecting something. Guys, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like halving is for us. It's a non-event.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, it's great because we, of course, the price moves around it, and there is excitement and all that kind of stuff. But the miners are getting half of the rewards. Simple as. But we, as a retailer, we don't see anything. We might see a price appreciation or depreciation because it's the beginning of the new cycle, depending on how you count them. But it's early, so it takes time for us to go. And by the way, this is the first time we've broken the all-time high prior to the halving.
Exactly.
Never happened before.
Exactly.
So it looks like we're going faster. We might finish early. I don't know, but it's not. I don't think it's nearly the end yet.
No, me either. I think that we might have some difficulty. The fact that they were saying that it's not a crash, to us it's not a crash, but people think it's a crash. Yeah. But this big dip that we had last week, it was the biggest liquidations that we've had since FTX. To me, for that to happen in this part of the cycle, this soon after the halving, nothing makes me more bullish, because the only reason liquidations happen is to move the money from the weak hands to the strong hands. So if the strong hands are causing all of this manipulation to take our money, then no worries, I'm going to keep accumulating as well, because I know what you're doing and what's coming next. It's the more that happens in this part of the cycle, the greatest opportunity we have.
Yeah, well said. I think if a 27% correction scares you, you have not seen Bitcoin yet.
Yeah.
Because that like we've seen 40% in previous cycles. And it feels like it's a bit milder now with the ETFs.
Definitely.
25, 22, 21, 27. So we might go 30, we might go down a little bit more. Hey, if we correct 60%, I'll be the first one to say, okay, maybe the party's over now for 4 years.
Yeah.
But until I see a stronger correction, this is normal. Nothing goes up in a straight line. I mean, not long ago, we were at 15,000.
Yeah.
So it's been a while, okay, but we've gone from 15 to 70 plus. Hello.
That's crazy.
So it's okay if we chill now a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you look into the charts, as you do all the time, I think you talked about in one of your videos, we had a super huge candle, which has not been tested, right? So you want to...
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, exactly.
Just chill.
Yeah.
Travel and trade. There you go.
Exactly.
Is there any particular altcoin you have in your radar? I know you're like me.
Yeah.
We're not like altcoin experts. Any in particular?
There is nothing that I am emotionally attached to. There are coins that, I just happen to get in at really good prices. So they make me good money. But what it does fundamentally, I don't care about. Literally they are... this is so bad for me to say, being in the crypto industry, and I'm supposed to believe in the tech, but they are just a vehicle for me to make money to buy more Bitcoin. That's all they are. So, I just happened to buy Solana very early. Neo is one of my other better altcoins for this cycle. And so, they're not recommendations. I'm not saying I think they're good coins. I don't. I've bought in early and they're the ones that are bringing me the most profit at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry to jump in. It's funny because I feel like most of the tokens we have in our ecosystems or around that we invest into, they could be like an Oracle database easily.
Yeah.
Like we don't need a decentralized, speaking about decentralization, neither Solana nor Ethereum are decentralized as far as that's my opinion. Guys, you can crush me in the comments, but I think the difference here is in between an asset, aka Bitcoin, who has no CEO.
Yes.
There is nothing around it, fully decentralized, as opposed to a company. Yes. And by the way, there's going to be a market, I believe, for those projects like Solana, Ethereum. They're going to make it.
Exactly.
Like you said, I also more heavily, if not almost heavily invested in Bitcoin. Do you buy memes at all? Are you into memes? No?
No, I'm quite embarrassed that is the thing that is driving this cycle so far. Especially for people who want to bring legitimacy to cryptocurrency, it's that's the thing that's getting attention for us. Is it really a step forward for the industry? I'm not so sure. But then I also, I understand the other side of it. But if that's where the profit is, then, chase the profit. So I get that too. And I also agree with that narrative that that's where the money is. So let's go there. So no judgment from me. But for me personally, I would only short-term trade them for profit. So I'm not I'm going to hold on to, I don't know, what is an altcoin?
Whatever, Dogecoin.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold on to that for, the next 10 years and expect to make tens of millions of dollars. I also think that, these coins that come out on before they hit major exchanges, the whole narrative around the way people are told that, you can turn a small amount of money into a lot of money. The actual truth behind that is never really told. I tried to dabble with that just for my own learning experience to understand why this is such an attraction for people coming in new into crypto. And this whole idea that, you know, oh, if you just put 10,000 in, you make 5 million. It's like, but you actually can't put $10,000 into that thing when it's listed with such a small market cap, because like you can't get the order filled. You at most, like I was trying to play with something with $1,000 and it kept saying like, this is going to have huge slippage or whatever it is, like big warning. And I had to keep going down to just try and buy this thing. And in the end, the most I could put into it was $100. What am I going to turn $100 into? You know, now could I take my $1,000 and just go and do a low leverage trade on a centralized exchange that, you know, has on a 4-hour time frame, a nice trend, and hold that for a few days and make the same money? Yeah, because I can get the whole $1,000 position filled. I could get a $10,000 position filled. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, this is a really good point. I've gone into a kind of a major 360 here, because I used to complete an absolute, not even understand memes and all these things. And then, you know, this cycle I have a filthy bag. Like I created a bag which I'm playing with, and you read the news, guys. This guy put $100, millionaire. Yeah. This is not,
and he can't cash it out anyway.
It's not the rule, is the exception. And the sad thing about it is most people investing in memes are going to lose money.
Exactly.
Simple as. Then there's going to be a couple that'll make it, and good for them. You know, I have nothing against it.
But it's usually luck. Yeah.
And it doesn't last, because it's like when, I don't know if you've seen statistics on people winning the lottery. Like I think it's 80% of the people, they win the lottery in 12 months, they lose everything. Because they don't know how to manage money.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's also that factor, right? So I think we've seen it with I think it was either Doge or Sheeb. The guy became billionaire, and then he didn't sell any, and he lost basically everything. Yeah. It is hard, but what I have to say though, the 360 I made mentally, besides my filthy bag, which I'm having so much fun with it, and I'm not in profit, by the way.
I love that you call it a filthy bag. So
every time I touch it in the shower, it's really filthy, like proper filthy meme. Like not even like Doge is like wow, solid. You know what I mean? And I'm having fun. We have a Telegram groups with friends. We're going in, we're going out, but it's a full-time job right there.
Yeah.
What it made me think about it is like it allowed people to have crypto on the map. I mean, the only bad side, like you said, I agree, is that people are expecting, they see these, oh, crypto, you make money fast, you become a millionaire with no experience. That's not, I don't believe it's, no. Like you have to have a bunch of skills. Yeah. You have to go through some baptism of fire. You have to lose a lot of money. You have to be scammed. But what is interesting, though, is some of those people, they've managed to purchase those memes or maybe even alts down to a degree. If they're still around a couple of cycles, they have to consider Bitcoin. Like, it's impossible.
Yeah,
so
correct.
To a degree, and, you know, take it with a pinch of salt, but to a degree, meme coins, I think, are helping as a marketing tool for Bitcoin, but only for those who stick around.
Stick around, exactly. And I think if we think larger than just cryptocurrency and we think about being investors as a whole, still the whole category of cryptocurrency fits into the high risk basket of an overall investment strategy. And that includes Bitcoin, right? It's still the high risk asset. And so if you were wanting to, you know, invest part of your portfolio into cryptocurrency, it really should still be a fairly small percentage of your overall wealth. And then the only thing that is what we would consider safe in that is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the only thing that they've agreed is decentralized, you know, that the SEC isn't going to come after. You know, it's the only thing that will save that part of an overall portfolio. I understand the idea when people come into crypto and they want to get rich quick and they think, I'm not going to make the big gains on Bitcoin anymore, like I have to take higher risk. But in an overall investment strategy, Bitcoin is the higher risk. And you can use Bitcoin to be the hedge against everything else, against your filthy bucket. Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
As long as you do that, then absolutely go wild. You know, buy the other things, have fun. But if you're coming into crypto just to buy the next dog-named coin, that's probably not going to end well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I also think there is like, I call it autopilot. Like if you buy Bitcoin, you have nothing to worry about. Yeah. Like you don't have to think about it, and you just buy Bitcoin and just hold it for a couple of cycles, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
If you buy a filthy coin, well, then you have a lot to think about.
Yeah. And it won't be popular next cycle. So you can't, like if you don't make your money on that this cycle that you buy it, like it's all over.
Exactly. I mean, I had a perfect example. I fumbled into a super filthy degen coin last night, and with $1,000, at some point it was up to $30,000. As now, basically, I checked this morning, I've lost money into it. So you have to consistently.
Oh, yes. That's the other thing too. You have to be on it all the time. So how is that freedom? This is a big thing about me with trading is trading essentially is a job. This is what most people don't realize. They want to become traders because they want to quit their job. They want freedom, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if I don't sit down in front of that computer and press a button, I'm not making money. That is a job. I'm exchanging my time for money in order to do that. So how is that freedom? How is that getting away from full-time work? So that's why I trade a very particular strategy. Means I need to be on the computer for 2 hours, 3 times a week, and that's it. Any more than that, like, I'm living my life. I would rather, if the market happens to move at an unexpected time, doesn't matter, did I have a good day today? Because that I have to make myself have that freedom. I could absolutely fall into the hole of sitting in front of a computer looking for trades for 10 hours a day. And then how have I changed my life?
It feels like sometimes people are trying too hard.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to trade every single minute.
Yeah.
You can if you want to, but then it's probably best for the market to come to you instead of you coming to the market.
Absolutely. And I think it's a very normal learning experience. Like, when you dive in, you want to dive in deep. You want to learn fast. And I did it too. This is why I now have these rules on myself, because I had this wake up call of going, hold on, I'm watching charts for 13 hours a day. There was a point where my friends would invite me out for lunch and I would bring my laptop open next to me in case there was a trade to take. And so I believe that is the normal learning journey, and it is all part of the hours that you have to build up before you can, have a chance of becoming profitable. And so it's all normal. But once you get to that point that you can't really call yourself a successful trader until trading is boring to you, right? If you're doing that and you're still doing 13 hours a day in boredom, you got to set some rules for yourself, because you need a life as well. And so, I think you can manage both and you can step away from the computer, but it probably won't happen until you have dealt with that emotion of, if I miss this trade because I've gone to do something else, I'm okay with that. That's the hardest part, because you know how it is in crypto, right? Crypto can consolidate for 2 weeks and put you into absolute boredom, and then bang, it just goes. And if you're not there in that moment,
you miss all the
FOMO.
gains.
But you got to understand, all of these things, they're all done on purpose to get you to feel a certain way, to get you to FOMO, to get you to buy in at the top and sell, in the worst possible time. Like, once you learn that and you realize, like, okay, these candles are moving fast to get me to take an action without thinking, then you go, no, you're not going to do that. I'm on top of this.
And I like what you said. I agree. I think you have to be obsessed with something just long enough to break whatever. For example, if you have, I don't know, let's say you have a job, like a full-time job, you want to become a trader.
Yeah.
You need that obsession to break your pattern. But as soon as you are kind of outside of the whatever atmosphere, chilling in space, then you can relax a little bit.
But you have to have that discipline yourself to do it, because the other problem with that then is there is no boss looking over your shoulder saying time to clock off, like when the office is closing, you know what I mean? Like, you really can get carried away if you don't have that discipline to make sure that you have a nice balance in life.
I've always done kind of a bit of a tango in between being a freelancer, a contractor, and being an employee. I have my own business. Those are the things. And I think people have different flavors, I guess, in life. Some people want to be employees. They want to have the certainty. They want to have the salaries. Whether people like me and you may be more entrepreneurial. Maybe hence why we are in Bitcoin so heavily, because we are more risky adverse. I don't know. But it's a good point that you have to always do the math with whatever you are trading time in the end of the day, right? Besides money, which is great, but time is my favorite asset so far. So you are trading time for something else.
Yes, exactly.
So you want to make sure you are having a balanced. And I've gone through periods where I was so completely obsessed with what I was doing to build it. But then at some point you gotta let go, and say, okay, now I need to enjoy life, because otherwise you blink twice and you are.
Yeah, and then you always start something because you're passionate about it. But if you don't realize when you're overdoing it, the passion goes as well, and then it just becomes a chore, and you don't want that either.
What would you say to you, like if you could see yourself like 5 years ago, without even going too far, specifically on Bitcoin? We have a lot of people watching the podcast, maybe they are new or they are considering to come into crypto. Have you got something specifically you would like to tell yourself like 5 years back? Or
take the time to learn and understand, number one. Also, understand that there's many ways to make money in crypto. It doesn't have to be trading. You know, some people are only investors. Some people are only traders. Some people, you know, get involved in projects and go and work for them and, you know, may receive payment in some way for that. Like there's so many ways to get involved in crypto that you might have a skill that is advantageous to somebody else. So that's a really good way to get in and learn. So just explore all of the different ways and understand what your personality is right for, because like for me, I'm pretty chill, right? So like,
I love that.
you know, so I don't worry. Like, you know, if I look at a chart and I think something's going to happen, I'm happy to take a chance on it. And if that doesn't happen, I'm okay with the outcome. I can easily place a trade and go straight to bed at night, you know, whereas a lot of people will have their phone by the bed, pick it up, see what's happening. They have to look every 2 seconds. Even people that I know that are professional traders that I'll meet for lunch in Dubai, they're like, how have you not picked up your phone for 2 hours? And I'm like, well, because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But that's not a personality that everybody will have. And if you are an anxious person, maybe trading won't be for you. So maybe longer term investing will be. So I think the game of money, honestly, the way to conquer it is to know who you are. It's not a one size fits all. The way that you're going to make money is not the same for every single person. And what one person can spend hours doing and be absolutely great at is not what maybe the next person sitting next to them can do, you know. I get very, very bored trading higher timeframes. If I have to wait 4 days for candlestick confirmation, I'm going to kill myself, you know, like. But so I like day trading because I like the fast action. I can make quick decisions. And so you learn about, like, I think playing with money in any way is the best way to teach you who you are, because money is the one thing that we're all taught we need more of. And we have this fear around losing it and not having enough of it. So, yeah, anyway, I don't know if that answers the question.
I love it. I completely agree, by the way. I like to think that money is a great tool you need to teach you what is that you really like.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at some point, it's not going to be about money, it's going to be about time.
Absolutely.
I think about super, uber successful, rich people. They have time in their radar. And it's going to be all about time and money. Probably in the beginning, if you are lacking of money, you need time to make money. And then at some degree, you have money, so you want time to spend with your family, go traveling, do whatever you want. And I've been battling with my own life towards this topic, which is I need money. And you are focusing on building something, whatever it could be, a company, a business, an idea, whatever. And then you get to a point where you may be successful, but you don't like doing that.
I built my last business out of passion. Absolutely loved it. The business grew so large that I could no longer do the activities that I was passionate about, and I had to step away and do the business side of it, which was dealing with customer complaints and paying bills. Like, what is my life, right? And I ended up absolutely hating it. So I'm very, very careful with this business to make sure that I continue to do the thing that I'm passionate about, which is trading. Because a lot of people, when I, first started, I'm still a very small creator, but when I was very, very, very small creator, a lot of the people in this industry said to me, like, if you grow your channel really big and if you, become known in this space, you'll stop trading. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I actually enjoy the skill of trading. And they said, you'll have to, because you'll become a full-time marketer. And I'm like, if I was to do that, then I wouldn't be happy, because I love the skill of trading. I'm very passionate about it. Hopefully that comes across in my content.
It does,
but,
yeah.
having learned, from my last business, I would rather hire people to do the things now that I don't want to do so that I can continue to trade.
I can tell, but I think anyone can when you watch a video, and you can tell if the person is passionate about the topic or not. And hey, it's great. But I think it's important at some point you want to ask yourself and say, hey, is it what I'm doing now? And this works for everyone, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Is it what I'm doing now worth of my time?
Yeah.
Question mark. Because I think sometimes we get into a sleepwalk kind of routine, and it's important to break with a hammer and say, hey, as far as I know, I only have one life, which means I only have 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, I've gone through so many, I was telling you a little bit about me before when I brewed the coffee. I've gone in so many different paths and changes, and I think if you want to find yourself, you got to play with things.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes I speak to people and they say to me, I don't know where my passion is. This is such a wonderful place to be because you can try everything.
Exactly.
You know, if you don't know what you like,
Yeah.
it's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. And I think you always have to have that check-in with yourself. Like even, it was only last week that I was asking myself, do I like my business? And just making sure I actually liked my business because I kind of fell into it. I didn't mean to start a cryptocurrency education company. I didn't mean to do that. It was just, I was part of another community and I was doing Zooms for this company. They changed their business model in a way that it didn't really align with my values anymore. So I decided to leave that, and I had built a following, from helping them out, that people were like, do your own thing. And I was like, okay, I'll do my own thing. It was never like, I'm going to have a business plan. Whereas my first business, I had a 10-year business plan. I knew how I was going to scale. I knew all of these things that I wanted to do, my goals and, 50-page plan. And this business was like, okay, like my Trade Travel Chill was just my Instagram name of the 3 things I love to do.
I love it.
Do you know what I mean? It was just, everything was so organic. So sometimes I have to check in with myself and say like, wait, is this intentional? Do I want this? Am I maybe just in so much alignment with my path that everything just happens so naturally that it feels too easy compared to my last business. So therefore, I don't know if I'm passionate, but I am. I love my business. I love my community. I love my channel. I love teaching people how to trade, and I love seeing the light bulb moments when something finally clicks for them. That's the best part to me. So I know I'm in my passion, but I still check in with myself all the time.
I completely agree. I think you have to have a plan, but also you have to have the ability to pivot.
Yes.
And maybe sometimes it's not necessarily what you designed in the first place. Like looking to the most successful companies, like Amazon, for example, they started selling books.
Yeah.
And now they do AWS services.
Yeah.
Like you gotta have to, like Virgin, another good example. They have trains. I mean, it was records. I mean, so I'm not saying you have to start with A and end up in Z. But
you know what? Be willing to say yes to random opportunities that come your way because you never know where they're going to lead.
Say yes to life.
Say yes.
100%. Look at me. I love people. Yeah. I love talking to people. I had a podcast.
Yeah.
It's completely random. And sometimes, random works out. Make sure that every now and then you break some stuff,
Yeah.
Because if you don't break things, you can't build on top.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get trapped into this. Maybe this is why I love so much Bitcoin, because it gives you that kind of, it's the only constant in my super valuable life.
Yes.
And I know no matter what, I can go back into it. And okay, I'm a complete degen because everything I have is in Bitcoin, besides like a small amount of fiat, which I have in my bank that I need to pay for petrol or some bills. But I like it.
You're like 100% in crypto.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Do you think that when this cycle peaks, that will stay the same for you?
I don't know. I like the idea of real estate as a like you said so well. I was talking to my wife last night and I said, hey, maybe we should get a little house in Japan. I love Japan. It's one of my favorite places.
Beautiful.
But then it becomes a liability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you buy a property and you rent it out, it's an asset. But then if it's yours, it's costing you money.
Yeah.
Whether Bitcoin is property in cyberspace, it doesn't cost you anything to hold it. I mean, besides whatever, it depends on how you store it. But if you can buy a treasure for a couple of $100, done.
Yeah.
I love the idea of, like you described so well. I think I'm in sync with you in that sense, having a bunch of different legal houses and then just maybe go.
Yeah. Because then they are an asset for you, because when you're not there, they're on short-term rental, they're making you money, you know, but you get to also enjoy it when you want to enjoy it.
And as much as I appreciate and love Michael Saylor, there's no second best. I disagree. I think there is second, third, and fourth and fifth, I'm not saying to be totally, diversified, because that's not even maybe nice either. Because at the end of the day, I feel like the things you understand the most, you will buy.
Exactly.
Right? So I am 1000% focused on Bitcoin. So the level of reinsurance, if this thing drops 50%, I don't even blink. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Whether if I would go into, I don't know, buy a kilo of gold and it drops, I'll freak the hell out because I don't have that kind of conviction.
Yeah.
So I think having some sort of a stronger portion of it, that's probably why Warren Buffett's, all these people, they don't even understand Bitcoin because they've done one thing so well for their entire life. And the prospect of investing in something they don't understand is scary.
Yeah.
I get that part. So, and I kind of went in too deep into Bitcoin. I feel like I don't want to say closed everything else, but every time I have an option, I'm like, yeah, but it's not Bitcoin. Because I have not spent the same amount of time in researching, if it makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I often think that too. Like when I come across a good investment opportunity, if someone, you know how it is in Dubai, 450 million agents sending you properties every day. But when something comes across my desk and I'm like, oh, that does look good. I'm like, but where are we in the cycle?
I know, saying that. I had the same thing in my back home. Maybe we should have a mastermind group where we have the real estate expert. So someone who was
not an agent.
Not an agent.
We need a real estate investor expert.
Exactly.
Because they're going to tell us the truth.
Because that would be the value. So imagine you have 5 or 6 individuals, each has a complete obsession into something. Well, then if I could find someone who has the same passion we have in crypto for real estate, hey, good friends. You know
what? I used to have this in Australia. We had a mastermind and every person bought a different skill. And so we would meet once a month and whatever you needed, like let's just say I was struggling with my social media, there was a social media expert there I could help her. And it was all exchange for services, but within like a 2-3 hour thing that we would just do once a month and everybody would bring something to eat, and we just mingle. And it's seriously the best. This is a great idea. I really think we should do it.
Yeah, in Dubai.
What about the contacts we could have here in Dubai? It would be insane.
Yeah, madness. Imagine jumping into crypto with no idea what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Or having a call with you and say, hey, what do I do? Well, do these 3 things.
Yeah.
So same. So maybe having some sort of like a mastermind group where we have a couple of people in and say, hey, we can teach you what we know in exchange of stuff that you know. So we all exponentially grow.
It's an amazing idea.
That could be a good idea.
You just started a whole new business.
There you go. It's going to happen, guys. And by the way, if you are an expert in Dubai in real estate, give us a call. But Annie, it's been absolutely amazing chatting to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been great.
I've been watching your video for so long, and when I saw you today, I was super excited because you have always that feeling when you watch someone on YouTube and you watch them for quite a bit. It feels like you know them because you've been watching all the emotions, all the videos. So having that kind of
it's the same. It's the same. I watch your shows a lot, the shows that you do with Carl, and I have to tell you, it's one of my favorite shows to watch on YouTube. I'm not joking. But I tell you why, especially when it's my favorite, is when you guys start storytelling. When you go back in time about when you got into Bitcoin and what you went through, because I know that you're genuinely successful, you and Carl, and I know you've been in this industry for a long time. And the stories that you tell, it always happens organically too. You can tell it's not planned. It just happens to come up. And then it's so good to hear this from someone who is the future version of what you want to be. Do you know what I mean? So
thank you.
I do love that. Honestly love it.
It's been a mission. We were discussing it off camera earlier because, Carl gave me his following in it was so, I was petrified. I mean, I'm still, because I don't want to damage it and they don't know who I am. I've never done this before. This is such a new, imagine going from, I've never recorded a single video to 600,000 followers
crazy.
Like this. Yeah. And then it's me, hey, people haven't even subscribed to my face. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm not a TA guy. But I'm loving every single day. And every single episode, I have that kind of butterfly in my belly. And
great.
At the end of the day, all we're trying to do is something value for people. Yeah. We have beautiful guests. We have Da Vinci's. We have all these OG, incredible people. You should come on the show, by the way.
I'd love
make
to.
it happen.
I'd love to.
I'd love to have you on. But and sometimes we jump into those organic conversations, and it kind of goes to a podcasty more kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's good to have your feedback because I don't know if people like it, people hate it. Sometimes.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I would imagine everyone does because everybody wants to learn from someone who is where they want to be. It's like you said with your personal trainer. Why do you trust him? Because you know he has knowledge that you don't have that enriches your life when he passes it on to you. So I love that.
Yeah, it's interesting, and obviously this is what I enjoy to do. Like I'm a that's why I have a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm conscious. Maybe I should tune it down a little bit more because I go there organically, especially when I have a guest. I'm like, I go in podcast mode, and I forget that I'm live, and I'm like, crap, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
That's good.
But it's good to see you. And guys, of course, I will leave in the comments down below all your beautiful links because your Instagram also is quite nice. I like it because you travel, you chill, you trade. Hey, best besties.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank
that was
you.
great.